Welcome to GST Solution. My name is Rusik Desai. Friends, we have already understood that all the furnishings of return under GST has to be under electronic mode only. Along with that, we had also understood that all the registered person is required to file GSTR 1, GSTR 2, GSTR 3, that is in place of 3, now GSTR 3B, and an annual return. We had also understood that or how to rectify the mistake if any occurred at the time of filing GSTR 1 or GSTR 2. Friends, today we are going to understand section 43 to section 48 along with rule 73 to rule 84. Section 43 says that matching, reversal and reclaim of reduction in output liability. As discussed in section 42, where there is any matching, reclaim or reversal of input tax credit, in such a manner, section 43 also says that what happens in case if there is a credit note issued by the supplier or there is reclaim of such credit or there is a reduction in output liability. So the provisions are given under section 43. Subsection 1 of section 43 says that details of all the credit notes which is issued by the supplier has to be exactly matched with the corresponding details as declared by the recipient in his return. One thing should be kept in mind under GST, if there is any credit note or if there is any debit note, it has to be compulsorily raised by the supplier of goods and services only. Recipient cannot issue any debit note and recipient cannot issue any credit note. What happens in case if the supplier issues a credit note then? So friends, in case if a supplier issues a credit note, it has to be matched with the details as furnished by the recipient, that is the recipient of that credit note. Whether he has reduced his input tax liability to the extent of such credit note issued by the supplier or not, that has to be checked. And that is what the provisions of subsection 1 of section 43 says that. So along with section 43 subsection 1, it is very important for us to understand with rule 73 which says that what all details will have to be matched at the time of matching the credit note. It has been said that when a supplier issues a credit note, then a GST portal will do an auto check with respect to GST number of the supplier as well as GST number of the recipient and the credit note number, credit note date, the amount of tax. Friends, in rule 73, it has been also stated that when a credit note has been issued by the supplier, say for example of rupees 100, and if the recipient of such credit note have reduced input tax then to rupees 100 only, then it will be deemed that such details has been matched and the communication in this respect will be communicated to the recipient as well as supplier of goods and services. Now again switching to section 43 subsection 2, it has been stated that where the details furnished by the supplier, that is the credit note issued by the supplier, exactly matches with the reduction of input tax, then in such a case a communication in this respect shall flow to both the parties. Now friends, in which form this communication will be showed? So it has been stated that as per rule number 74, this communication will be issued in form GST MIS 01 that yes, these transactions is eligible transactions and it is matched on the GST portal and hence the communication in this respect has been sent to both the parties. Friends, subsection 3 of section 46 says that where the reduction in output liability increases, that is the supplier has issued the credit note and the recipient had not declared it in his return, in that case what happens? So again friends, it has been told that where the reduction in output liability exceeds, that is the recipient does not declare it, in such a case an automatic mail will be issued to both the parties from the GST portal, that is the recipient and the supplier of goods and services in GST MIS 01 and GST MIS 02 as per rule 75. So GST MIS 01 will be issued to the supplier of the credit note and GST MIS 02 will be issued to the recipient of such credit note as to the supplier had issued the credit note, either the recipient had not done the necessary action or if the action has been completed by the recipient, then the supplier have not declared it. So a discrepancy in this regard shall be auto flowed to both the parties, that is the supplier and the recipient. Friends, if the supplier has reduced his output tax liability on the same credit note by mistake twicely, then in such a case the discrepancy in such regard will again be shooted to the recipient or to the supplier of the goods and services. Now in which form this will be given? So again friends, this discrepancy will be communicated to the recipient or to the supplier of goods and services in GST MIS 01 as per Rule 76. Friends, what happens if the communication in respect of discrepancy as per subsection 3 of section 43 has been flowed to the recipient as well as to the supplier of goods and services, but the recipient or the supplier fails to do the necessary rectification? In such a case, friends, if the supplier or the recipient fails to do the necessary rectification even after the mail from the GST portal, in such a case the amount to the extent of such tax liability shall be added to the output liability of the supplier of the goods and services and has to be paid in cash or either through electronic credit ledger in the subsequent return which the supplier is required to file. Even in the circumstances when the output liability has been reduced twicely, that is duplicate reductions of output tax liability on the same credit note, if the supplier has reduced the output tax liability 2 times, in such a case also this amount of output tax liability to the extent of 1 time will be added to the output tax liability of the supplier in the next subsequent return in which the return is required to file. Further, if after the communication in respect of discrepancy has been flowed, has been communicated to the supplier as well as the recipient of goods and services, and if the supplier or the necessary action at the end of recipient has been taken, in such a cases the reduction in output tax liability will be reduced and it has to be rectified while filing the return for the next month. The amount of such output liability which is unmatched on account of credit note has to be paid along with the interest at the rate 18% per annum as per subsection 1 of section 50. However, if after communications of the discrepancy, if the supplier or the recipient take necessary actions, then interest in such regard which has been paid by either of the party will be refunded in form GSTR 3B. That is, at the time of filing GST 3B, either by the supplier or by the recipient, the refund to that extent can be claimed as a refund or an input tax credit in whichever manner it has been paid. Again friends, if the supplier or the recipient does any activity in contraventions to subsection 7 of section 43, that is, even if the supplier or the recipient has not done the necessary rectification, but the supplier or the recipient with a malified intention declare in his return or reduce his output tax liability, then in such a case, such amount of output tax liability will have to pay along with the interest as per subsection 3 of section 50, that is 24% per annum. Friend, so these are the provisions with respect to reclaim and reductions in output tax liability as declared in section 43 along with the rules. Now coming to section 44, that is annual return. We had discussed earlier also, again we are taking it. So annual return, it says that all the registered person other than the person who has taken registration under section 51, under section 52 and a non-resident taxable person, every registered person is required to file the annual return in the prescribed form as may be specified. Again, it has been stated that every registered person whose turnover exceeds 2 crore rupees has to get his books of account audited by the chartered accountant and furnished a reconciliation statement also by the 31st December of the next financial year. So section 44 will have to be read along with rule number 80, wherein it has been stated that the annual return filed by the registered person will have to be in form 9. If a person is into a composition scheme, then he has to furnish his annual return in form 9A. If a person has taken registration under section 51, then such annual return have to be filed under form 9B. However, friends, in all the cases, the registered person will also have to furnish GSTR form 9C, which is a reconciliation statement of the taxable supplies or the input tax credit which the supplier or the recipient has availed, that is the registered person has availed during the particular year, along with the reconciliations of the books of account, that is the financial statement. Each and every figures as declared in GSTR form 9 has to be matched with the corresponding details in 9C, and if there is any discrepancy at the time of filing of annual return, then such will have to be rectified by either paying it to cash or paying it along with the interest through electronic credit ledger. So again friends, the deadline for filing annual return is 31st December of the next financial year. After filing annual return, there is no amendment or there is no corrections to this annual return or the reconciliation statement in form 9 or form 9C. Coming to section 45, it says that final return. Now friends, one may think that who need to file this final return? So the final return, the name itself suggests, is the final return. It means after filing this final return, a registered person will not be allowed to file any of the return. His registration is deemed to be cancelled. The provisions as discussed in section 45 says that if a person have already applied for the cancellation of registration, then from the date of cancellation of the registration or from the order of the date of the cancellation, within 3 months he has to file a final return. In which form this final return will have to be filed? So as per rule 81, this final return will have to be filed in form GSTR 10, and after filing GSTR 10, his registration is deemed to be cancelled. Coming to section 46, that is notice to the return defaulters. If the registered person fails to file any return as prescribed under Rule 39, Rule 44 or Rule 45, that is the annual return or the final return or the return as prescribed under 39, that is GSTR from 3B, then in such a cases a notice to the return defaulters will be flowed from the GST portal that you have not filed the GST return, and if you do not file the GST return, then your registration is liable to cancel, and they can even cancel your registration certificate. And hence friends, it is very important that all the registered person will file and have to file their return in a prescribed manner. Coming to section 47, which says levy of late fees. Now what are the provisions for filing late returns? In such case friends, if you are filing your returns lately, late fees, that is to the extent of rupees 100 will be levied for each day, subject to maximum of rupees 5,000 rupees. These rupees 100 will have to be considered as per act, and hence if there is any delay in filing GSTR 1 or any return, then a rupees 100 for each act, that is 100 for CGST and 100 for SGST will have to pay, subject to maximum of 5,000 rupees. In case if there is any delay in filing annual return, in such a case is also a late fees of rupees 100 per day will be levied, but subject to maximum of 0.25% of the turnover of the quarter. So it is advisable to file all the returns in a timely manner. So these are the provisions contained under section 47 of CGST Act 2017. So coming to section 48, the provision with respect to GST practitioners. Now who can be the GST practitioners? So as stated in the provisions, the manner and eligibilities, the duties, the obligations and the functions of GST practitioners will be as given under the rules, that is as may be prescribed. Further, every registered person can appoint a GST practitioner who can file the return on his behalf monthly, annually or as may be required. Also, the correctness of filing return by the GST practitioners will have to be relied upon the furnisher of the details, that is the registered person only. So in case if there is mistake in data provided by the registered person, then such registered person will be held responsible for any mistakes or any data accuracy as may be furnished to the GST practitioner for furnishing of the return. So coming to Rule 82, that is the last rule of today's session, that is details of inward supplies of person having unique identity number. So in case if there is any person who has been allotted a unique identity number, then such a person will have to furnish the detail in form GST 11 along with the refund application. So if any person is claiming the refund of the tax paid by him, that is a person who has been allotted a unique identity number, and if he wishes to claim back the tax which has been paid by him, he has to furnish the details in form GST 11 along with the refund application, and upon the successful scrutiny or upon the verifications by the authorities or by the officer, such amount of refund will be refunded to the person having unique identity number. So these are the provisions contained in section 43 to section 48 along with rule 73 to 84. I hope you find this video very informative and useful. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share our channel for getting regular updates on GST. Thank you very much friends.